One of the largest defense contractors in Europe is making a play for a piece of this country's military market.
10,000 research and manufacturing jobs could land in Canada if Ottawa adds the Swedish fighter jet to its military fleet.
We, as Saab, we are prepared to do that technology transfer to Canada and support that build-up.
Good evening, and welcome back to Prof. Elara Analysis. If you're joining us for the first time, I am Professor Elara Newton, a geopolitical strategist and live reporter who dissects the power plays shaping our world. Tonight, we're tracking a decision that didn't make the front page of many newspapers, but has quietly sent a seismic tremor through military headquarters from Washington to Brussels. It's a story not of what was bought, but of what was refused, a choice that cuts to the very core of what sovereignty means in the 21st century. It begins with a simple question. Would you rather rent your security from an ally or own it? A nation just gave its answer, and in doing so, may have redrawn the strategic map of an entire continent. Let's analyze. Something quiet but historic unfolded behind closed doors in Ottawa, and its impact is still rippling across military alliances, defense industries, and geopolitical strategy rooms. A deliberate choice was made that upended long-standing assumptions about alliance loyalty, technological dependence, and the very architecture of modern power. This was not a routine procurement decision or a budget-driven compromise. It was a deliberate pivot that forced allies to reconsider what security really means in a world ruled by software, data control, and industrial leverage. By the end of this story, the meaning of air power may look very different. The decision did not come with a press spectacle or dramatic announcement, yet its consequences landed hard in Washington. In a move that recalibrated alliance dynamics, Canada, a cornerstone of NORAD and a steadfast U.S. ally, opted against the F-35, choosing instead Sweden's Gripen E platform. On paper, that choice looked unexpected. The F-35 dominates Western air forces, anchors joint operations, and symbolizes alliance cohesion. But beneath the surface, Ottawa's calculation ran deeper than cost or performance charts. This was about control, autonomy, and the long-term ability to defend national interests without relying on systems governed beyond national borders. For years, the F-35 has been framed as the linchpin of a networked future battlespace, where individual fighters function as interconnected nodes in a vast digital grid. Sensors talk to sensors, pilots see the battlefield through fused data, and command centers receive a constant stream of real-time information. That vision is powerful, but it comes with strings attached. The software architecture, mission systems, maintenance, diagnostics, and updates remain tightly controlled by American contractors. Nations operating the jet receive capability, but not ownership of the underlying system. Access is conditional, permissions are centralized, and sovereignty becomes filtered through external approval processes. Canada examined that reality and saw a problem forming over decades, not years. Air power no longer depends solely on airframes and engines. It depends on software updates, encrypted diagnostics, algorithmic decision systems, and data pipelines that define how an aircraft fights and survives. Without authority over those elements, operational independence weakens quietly over time. Every update, request, modification, or repair becomes a negotiation. That model works for some allies. Ottawa decided it would not work for Canada. The Gripen E offered a fundamentally different approach. Saab designed the aircraft around the idea that the operator controls the system. The contract transcended a simple purchase, encompassing critical provisions for source code access, onshore modification rights, and complete sustainment autonomy. Canadian technicians gain the ability to maintain, upgrade, and adapt the platform without external gatekeepers. Assembly, maintenance, and future integration occur on Canadian soil. This shifts the relationship from customer to owner, and that distinction shaped the entire decision. That philosophy matters most in the Arctic, where theory collides with reality. Canada's geography is unforgiving. Extreme cold, high winds, limited infrastructure, and massive distances define northern operations. Fighter aircraft operating in those conditions must be resilient, adaptable, and capable of functioning far from pristine bases. The Gripen was built for environments where winter dominates the calendar. Its engineering permits deployment from abbreviated, unprepared strips, such as hardened highways or expeditionary forward operating locations. It requires less ground infrastructure and fewer personnel to remain mission-ready. The operational divergence becomes most apparent when examining infrastructure demands and maintenance supply chains. The F-35 performs best from long, carefully maintained runways with specialized support systems. The Gripen can launch from approximately 800 meters of roadway, refuel quickly, and return to dispersed locations. That capability changes how air defense works in the north. Instead of concentrating assets at a handful of major bases, aircraft can spread across multiple locations, complicating adversary targeting and improving survivability during high-intensity scenarios. Russia understands the Arctic's strategic value and has invested heavily in northern infrastructure. New airfields, radar networks, and icebreaker fleets signal long-term intent. As climate change opens shipping lanes and exposes undersea resources, competition intensifies. Canada's ability to monitor and defend the largest territory on Earth depends on sustained air presence in remote regions. Aging CF-18s struggled to meet that demand, often requiring frequent returns to base due to operational limitations. The Gripen changes that equation by maintaining high sortie rates even during severe weather. Advanced electronic warfare capabilities provide a decisive edge. The system's designed to degrade enemy sensors and confuse targeting networks, increasing survivability without relying on extreme stealth alone. Its modular maintenance concept allows small teams to perform engine swaps and repairs rapidly at forward sites. In a contested environment where major bases face threats, dispersed operations keep air power active rather than grounded. Military planners understand this advantage, even if it challenges established procurement norms. Washington's response remained largely behind diplomatic doors, but the concern was evident. Meetings were requested, assessments conducted, and warnings issued about interoperability and alliance cohesion. The underlying fear ran deeper than one contract. If a close ally could step away from the F-35 ecosystem, others might follow. Questions emerged quietly in capitals across Europe. Long-term operating costs, maintenance dependency, and industrial participation began to look different through Ottawa's lens. NATO's technical reality softens those fears. The Gripen integrates with alliance data links, weapon systems, and communication standards. Joint exercises require adjustments, but those adjustments remain manageable. Many analysts pointed out that interoperability depends on doctrine and coordination, not identical equipment. In fact, diversification can strengthen resilience by reducing single points of failure across the alliance. Domestic industrial policy was paramount in the final calculus. The Gripen Agreement includes final assembly in Montreal, significant domestic manufacturing, and long-term workforce development. Thousands of engineers receive advanced training, and Canadian firms integrate into the supply chain. Universities gain access to avionics research and systems development. Defense spending circulates within the national economy rather than flowing outward. This initiative revitalizes a sovereign aerospace competency that had atrophied following past strategic pivots. Maintenance autonomy seals the argument. When software issues arise on aircraft controlled externally, resolution depends on scheduling, permissions, and specialized access. With the Gripen, Canadian crews diagnose and resolve problems independently. Aircraft return to service faster, and operational planning remains under national control. That authority extends beyond efficiency into trust, particularly when missions involve sensitive national interests. Pilot training benefits as well. The cockpit design emphasizes intuitive interaction and workload management. Training timelines shorten, allowing faster pilot readiness and greater flexibility in force generation. Sensor fusion performance matches modern expectations, yet customization remains possible. Canada can adapt algorithms for Arctic conditions and integrate domestic early warning systems without external approval. That freedom aligns technology with geography rather than forcing geography to adapt to technology. Politically, the message resonated clearly. Ottawa's defense acquisitions are now squarely assessed through the lens of sovereign requirement, not external alliance pressure. This repositions the country as an independent strategic actor within alliances rather than a passive participant. The ripple effects continue to spread. Other nations are studying the model, not necessarily to copy it, but to understand alternatives that balance security with sovereignty. Alliances do not weaken when members assert capability, they evolve. Flexibility, adaptability, and mutual respect define resilient partnerships. For Washington, the lesson is clear. Allies are not captive markets. They are sovereign nations balancing shared defense with national control. For mid-sized countries watching closely, the message resonates even louder. Security and sovereignty do not exist in opposition when strategy aligns technology with long-term national interest. Canada now holds authority over its air power future. Arctic defense operates without external permission. Upgrades happen on national timelines. Skilled engineers build careers at home. Defense spending strengthens communities while enhancing capability. This moment signals maturity rather than defiance, and independence rather than isolation. The Gripen stands as proof that strategic autonomy remains possible in a deeply interconnected world. The federal government has selected Bombardier to provide 6 Global 6500 aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force, marking one of the first major procurements handled through the newly established Defence Investment Agency. The contract, valued at $753 million Canadian dollars, sets in motion the retirement of the CC-144 Challenger fleet, which has served reliably but has increasingly struggled to meet modern operational demands. Deliveries are scheduled to begin in the summer of 2027, with the aircraft expected to reach initial operational capability before the end of that year, a timeline that reflects the government's desire to move faster than past procurement cycles allowed. These aircraft are being acquired under the Airlift Capability Project, Multi-Role Flight Service, a program designed to deliver flexibility rather than narrow specialization. Once in service, the jets will support a wide range of missions, including aeromedical evacuation, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, and national security operations, both inside Canada and abroad. The contract also covers aircrew training, maintenance instruction, and a suite of military-specific modifications, ensuring the aircraft arrive ready to operate rather than requiring years of additional adaptation. From an operational standpoint, the program addresses a gap that has become increasingly difficult to ignore. The CC-144 Challengers, though dependable, lack the range, payload capacity, and flexibility required for today's missions. Recent domestic emergencies and overseas operations expose these constraints, forcing workarounds that limited responsiveness and increased logistical strain. Taken together, the Global 6500 fleet represents a meaningful evolution in how Canada approaches strategic airlift, delivering a significant upgrade in range, reliability, and mission endurance. That's all for today. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and before you leave, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for tuning in.